Well, hello, and welcome back. I'm AJ O'Neill, and this is Health Wealth Commitment, where I teach you how to win at life from the bias of my own experience. And I hope that this message today makes your life a little brighter, happier, and healthier. So, today we're going to talk about 10 tips to lose weight and keep it off. So, I'm actually going to read a little bit from the screen here. And if at any moment you realize, hey, this is actually pretty decent, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. So, let me verbal utter stumble blah, 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 while I get to the notes here. So, first off, I would not recommend that you do anything to lose weight that you are not willing and able and wanting to make a lifelong habit. And the reason for this is most likely you have not gained weight by making temporary choices. You've gained weight by making long-term choices. And so the choices that are going to reverse that are going to be long-term choices. They don't necessarily need to be hard, but they do need to be long-term. So let's go into this a little bit more. You probably have gained weight one of three ways. So the first way is I'm starting with the most terrible and the least likely, which is that you were born into a home where your parents just overfed you ridiculously, and your whole life you have never known not eating well. Number two is that your body changed. Could be that you got a disease or some sort of genetic defect manifested, but most likely it's that you turned 25 and your body went out of growth mode and into maintenance mode, and it's using all of those calories different now, and eating a whole pizza just doesn't metabolize the way it used to. And number three, and most likely, almost certainly, is that you've changed your habits. Even if you just went through the 25 thing and started gaining weight that way, you did change habits. Before, you were eating the amount that filled you and that satisfied you, and then you maybe kept the habit of eating the same amount, but you lost the habit of eating what satisfied you. So even in that case, it's a change of habits. And I absolutely do not believe in this myth that you have some sort of genetic disability and therefore you can't lose weight. Weight is a matter of science. Foods have calories, and if you put too many calories into your body stores them. And if you don't put enough calories into your body to maintain your weight, I use should here loosely because you're either putting in more than will maintain your weight or less than will maintain your weight or exactly what maintains your weight, right? And there is no you can eat less and still gain weight. That's not real. So I've said before that I don't recommend diet or exercise as a matter of changing weight. And the reason for that is that you are probably not going to do those in a lifelong fashion, or you're not going to see a quick enough return on them. And so the effort is too high, the return is too low. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So for diet, no, I don't recommend that you substitute bananas for ice cream, or I think it's the other way around. You don't go on a food vacation that you're going to come back to. But one thing I would say about diets that I think is good is you can experiment. And you can learn maybe some different foods that you didn't realize you liked, or different ways of eating that you didn't realize you liked. And those can become lifelong habits. But the diet itself is not what's going to cause you any goodness. The exercise, it's just you lose weight very slowly. You don't burn hardly any calories when you exercise. You burn slightly more than you do when you're sitting at your desk. And I think you just need a better reason to exercise than losing weight. But by all means, I agree that changing your diet is good, exercising is good. So that said, let's get into the 10 tips. So tip number one is you got to find your why. Why is it that you want to lose weight? And this can be super vain. I want to be prettier. I want to be perceived by others as more attractive. I want to look more powerful. Whatever. I don't care. Nobody, pick any reason you want, but figure out what it is that's your why. For me, it was I'm actually getting sick. I'm feeling tingles in my fingers and my toes, and I am just overall, I lead such a sedentary lifestyle that it's not going well for me. This is not working out. And that I kind of hit rock bottom in a way where I was sick 2 or 3 months in a row, I caught a cold or a flu or something, and I was like, okay, I know that some stuff needs to change here. But it wasn't just my weight, it was holistic. So, number two is, in order to get started at all, I believe that you will need an anchor point. And what I mean by anchor point is something in your life that is a constant that you can build off of. And for a lot of us that are struggling with health problems, it's because we have poor self-control and bad routines. And so it's kind of hard to find that anchor point. But what I want you to do is to find something that is an anchor point for you. For example, you do get out of bed every day, right? I mean, there's maybe I don't believe anyone who is watching this or ever will watch this is in a condition where you're not getting out of bed every day. You do eat breakfast every day. You do, you use the bathroom every day, you shower every day. There are some things that you do every day. So find something that you do fairly consistently and first resolve to make that more consistent. If it's getting up, try to get up around the same time. If it's taking a shower, try to take a shower around the same time. Try to get something where it can begin to be an anchor point for you. It could be making the bed. For me, my anchor point was making the bed. And interestingly, now I'm waking up earlier and my wife's waking up later. And so now that has shifted. Now she's the one making the bed. But the point is, you need an anchor point from which you can base everything else off. So that was number two. Number three is, this is maybe a little hard to do, but drink a liter or a quart, that's the same thing, of water when you wake up, before you do anything else. When you wake up, drink a liter or a quart of water. Now, this can be really hard if you don't like water. I didn't like the taste of water. Don't drink sewage water. Get water that is, say, spring water. When you go to the store and you buy bottled water, usually it's sewage water. It'll say right on the packaging, bottled at the city facility in Cincinnati, Ohio. That's sewage water. That's not going to taste good. It's got probably chlorine in it. Maybe they filtered most of that out, but it is recycled poop. So you really find some water. If you don't have well water at home, get a Brita filter, or there's another filter that I'm using that some people really like the taste of. It's a little too strong for me, so I've mixed between the two. Those add in minerals like calcium and selenium and magnesium, etc. So it gives it that spring water taste, because spring water gets those minerals from the rocks, and that's why it tastes good. But you want to get some water, and maybe a liter is too much for you. You just can't stomach it. Oh, okay, do 2 cups. But drink water. Drink water the first thing that you could do. Get your body full of lots of water. And I do recommend that you do about a liter, but your body may, whatever works for your body. And part of that, number 3 still, is keep water everywhere. Keep a water bottle at work. Keep a water bottle at the home office. Keep a water bottle by your bedside. Keep a water bottle so that you always have access to good water that you're willing to drink. Number 4 is to limit the hours that you eat every day. And this is something where you can start small. The pop culture name for this right now that everybody's talking about is intermittent fasting. That is just, you limit the hours that you eat. So say you get up at 6 every morning. Maybe don't eat until you leave for work. Don't eat until right at 8. Don't eat right at 6. If you go to bed at midnight, don't eat at midnight. Decide a time. Maybe you have dinner usually around 6. Well, have your dinner and your dessert or whatever you're going to nibble on. Have it before the end of 8. Pick a time frame. It doesn't really matter too much what it is, because you can always adjust this. It's just establishing a lifelong habit of, you're going to pick a time frame, a window in which you're going to eat, and you're not going to eat outside of that window. So you can start small, but just get to a point where you are limiting the number of hours that you eat during the day. Okay, number 5, and this one you're not going to believe me on, eat foods that are high in fat and protein. Fat doesn't cause fat. Sugar causes fat. You want to lose weight? Ditch the 70 calorie Yoplait yogurt and have some nuts instead. You will feel more full. Your body responds well to foods that are high in fat and protein. And you do want some sugar in there too, because it makes stuff taste good, and it's good for you. But if you eat foods, I got something in my eye. Hold on just one second. A little bit of dust fell in there. If you eat foods that are high in fat and protein, you will feel more full. You will feel less like you need to eat. And on this note, it's actually better to eat more at a time for most people. Some people are grazers, but for most of us, your body responds better to eating larger quantities of food. Keep in mind, anytime you change your diet in any way, it's probably going to give you the runs. It's probably going to change your bathroom habits, and that might happen for a week or two. So just keep that in mind. Make small changes. If you make big changes, expect that. It's normal. Don't worry about it. It's not a problem. It's just your body's going to adjust to a difference in eating as it adjusts your biome in your stomach and all that. Still on number 5, I recommend unshelled nuts because it takes time to eat them. So it takes time and you get very little out of it. Every time you shell a nut, you put one in, you shell another nut, you put one in. So I guess unshelled doesn't make sense. They're whole shelled, still have shells, nuts. Anyway, do that because it takes a little bit more time and that gives your body time to register that you're not hungry or that you're getting full or that you're getting overfull. Also, I personally eat apples with peanut butter, and I find that to be very nice, and it's a nice slow process. It's crunchy, it's satisfying in that way. But I added that to my diet. It's not that I subtracted something else. I added that, and then some other stuff happened to fall off because I wasn't having the munchies for the other things. Okay, number 6. You have to ask yourself, with stuff that's around the house, is kind of what I was just saying, do I want this? When you're picking up something to eat it, just ask yourself, do I want this? That's number 6. Ask yourself the question, do I want this? And then follow up, kind of 6B, is don't buy things you don't want. When you're at the store, when you're picking up something, and you're probably not hungry at that time, so this should be a really easy decision. Just think, do I want this? Do I want this in the house? Do I want to be putting this in my body? Do I even enjoy this anymore? So many times I found myself gorging on foods that I actually didn't like just because when I was a kid I liked them. And so I had this old habit of, oh, I eat this thing because I feel great about it. And then I realized, wait, no, I don't. I don't like this food anymore. I certainly don't like it in this quantity. So asking yourself, just do I want this, is a huge, huge, huge big one. All right, number 7. If you have a particular bad habit in your diet, or I guess it could be other areas of your life, but particularly I'm thinking about diet, go cold turkey on it just for a couple of days, a week. Okay? So if you are every night you're gorging yourself on ice cream, I was doing that. If every day you're having 2 cans of soda, I was doing that. If you've got a habit that you know is a bad habit, just go cold turkey, because it's easier to not do something in many cases than it is to limit the amount that you do it. Think of an alcoholic and alcohol. It's easier to stop drinking alcohol than to say, I'll just have a beer, right? Same thing with some of the food bad habits. And I'm not suggesting you do all of these 10 things at once, by the way. I'm just giving you some stuff that you can do that if you could do and would do and will do, it'll make a difference in your life. So there was one more thing I want to say on that. Yeah, once you go cold turkey on something, I'm not saying you give it up forever. Don't give up your chocolate. Don't give up your ice cream. You want those things. But add them back in moderation. Once you've taken yourself away from supersizing your fries, you still want fries. Fries are great. But add it back in moderation. Get a small fry. Only get a fry every other meal or once a week. I only drink a can of soda once a week. So today I'm going to have my Mountain Dew. And sometimes I go out once a week and then I might have soda and I have a can of Mountain Dew a week. That's what I've switched to. So I went cold turkey, I added it back, and sometimes I add stuff back and I feel like, you know what, this is actually not working well for me. It's working against me. I have to go cold turkey again. That's fine. So slip up, go back, redo. It's fine. Okay, number 8. Did we get all the fingers in there? Yeah, okay, good. So number 8 is pick up drinking tea. Drinking tea is an interesting experience because it's too hot. Put it in the microwave for about 2 minutes. Don't let anyone tell you any different. Boiling the water has no scientific difference from boiling it in the microwave. And then you could put the tea bag in a cold cup and pour the boiling water over the tea bag and have the cool experience. The only difference would be the amount of time and investment that you're putting into it, which may have a psychological benefit for you. But just I boil it in the microwave. And you want to pick tea's hard to drink at first because at first it just tastes like grass. It takes maybe a week or so of drinking it every day to kind of start to be able to pick apart the subtleties of the flavors. So don't expect, if you haven't drank tea before, and we're talking about herbal tea, unsugared tea. So caffeine free, I should have mentioned that before, but caffeine free herbal tea and no sugar, no milk, none of that. Just straight. Because you can have this anytime. This is essentially like water. If you're feeling the need for something a little sweet, this is what I do. I have Good Earth sweet and spicy tea. It's sweetened, I think, with licorice and cinnamon. It tastes sweet. It tastes good. Tastes great. I cannot believe that there's no sugar in it. There might be a little bit of sugar in it from lemon peel. So there's some of the herbs in there may have but the thing is 5 calories. So, don't sweat it. It's essentially water. Anyway, so take a little bit of time to get used to tea. Don't use sewage water in your tea because then your tea will taste like sewage water. And try a couple of different flavors. There's other flavors that taste sweet. There's yogi, throat comfort, and some people don't like sweet tea. That's fine, but I do. There's different types of, I think licorice tea they say is sweet. I haven't tried a advertised licorice-based tea, but I have had teas with licorice in it. I think both the two that I just mentioned do. There is a chamomile, vanilla, and they call it vanilla and honey. It's actually vanilla and beeswax. I know the difference between the smell of honey and the smell of beeswax and the taste of honey and the taste of beeswax. It is beeswax. It's not honey, but they call it honey, and that's fine. It is reminiscent of honey, but it's beeswax. And try to avoid the cheapo teas because if you buy a cheapo tea, you get cheapo flavor. But in any case, like I said, it takes a little bit of getting used to, but the tea gives you a couple of benefits. It gives you a little bit of time. You can read, you can do some homework, you can maybe watch a little TV, but it gives you kind of something to hold in your hand. It takes a while to cool down. It gives you something to put in your body. It's going to fill you up with a little bit more water, another 6 or 8 ounces of water. And I do this for myself in the morning and in the evening. I have some sweet tea that has no sugar in it, but the cinnamon tea I mentioned, the Good Earth sweet and spicy in the morning, and then I'll have a calming or soothing tea, something that's maybe chamomile and beeswax or chamomile and peppermint or something like that in the evening. Okay, talked long enough about that, and I've talked about that before. So this is kind of a conglomerate video of everything I've ever talked about. But number 9 is to pick up a hobby. If you're using your brain, this is a funny thing, and that you can go research this. You don't have to take my word on it. But your stomach takes up some of your energy when it's processing food. This makes sense. Your brain takes up some of your energy when you're processing food. When you are engaged in a task, you are less likely to be hungry. Pick up a hobby. Pick up something. Teas could be your hobby. You could try lots of different varieties of tea. That's kind of becoming a little bit of a hobby for me. Pick up photography. You've got an iPhone. Pick up a $10 class on Udemy. Actually, I'll try to put some links in the descriptions for some of the things I'm mentioning later. But pick up a class and learn something. Learn a skill. I'm learning video editing. I'm learning photography. I'm trying to learn more about how I can be effective in my habits at work. I've got to put this on this side. I get so confused by the mirroring. Anyway. So pick up a hobby, something that's going to engage your brain, something that allows you to focus. You could pick up model cars. You could pick up researching movies. You could pick up anything, but pick a hobby because when you're engaging your brain, your stomach is going to be less likely to be engaged because your energy, your body is going to put energy towards your brain and not. I don't know. It's a weird thing, but it seems I feel I don't have the solid. I can't prove this. But anecdotally, it seems to be the case, and I've read a little bit of research that seems to suggest this is true. So pick up a hobby, have more things that you're spending your time on, so you're not just idling and getting hungry. And then number 10, this is my big ask. This is my big ask for you, is going contrary to everything that I said the other day. Start exercising. But wait, no, I'm not going to be beaten like that. All I want you to do is take, let's say, 10 seconds or 15 seconds. Do something in the morning. Do it in the morning before your day starts that gets your heart rate up. So if it's jumping jacks, if it's a 10-second sprint, whatever it is, just something that causes your heart to go bump a little bit. All right, and you should be able to feel it. And if 10 seconds doesn't do it, try for 20 seconds. If 20 seconds doesn't do it, try for 30 seconds. By 30 seconds, you can get your heart rate up. I know you can do this because I started out 30 seconds. All right. And if you can work up to a minute or 2 minutes, if you work up to maybe 4 minutes, don't try to go any further than that. And I'm not suggesting that you actually, I'm at 2.5 minutes. I'm happy. That's where I want to be. I'm cool with it. I get my heart rate up. I feel the benefit of it every day. I know that it's working in my life, and I might add something else. I'm looking at other alternatives that I could use to do another 2 minutes of exercise because I want to hit 4 minutes, because 4 minutes from the zero research that I've done, but just what I've been told in one of the Gym Quick videos is a good number to get your heart started for the day. So that's my tip number 10 is tiny amount of exercise. The goal is just to get your heart going. That's it. And if you don't, I'm not doing 4 minutes. I'm getting benefit out of it already. I started at 30 seconds, like I said. So with that, another thing, this kind of bonus round, it helps to have commitment in your life, health, wealth, commitment. That's what I'm talking about here. I 100% believe in commitment in your life. Have some people to be accountable to, and this can be a happy moment. Just tell some friends what you're doing. Tell some friends, don't pick all 10 of these things necessarily. If you feel like you can pick out all 10, sure, go ahead and try. But don't necessarily pick all 10 of these things. But tell your friends what you're doing with your life. Let them know. They're going to support you. I mean, nobody's going to be like, well, unless you're in that situation where your doctor would not want you to lose weight either. Your friends are going to be supportive and happy and whatnot. So yeah, tell people what your goals are so that you have somebody to be accountable to and you can talk about your goals with them. So if you're having trouble with this, it's hard to keep a schedule. It's hard to build up a routine in your life. Start small, pick 1 or 2 things. You can also get those silicone bands. You can get them on Amazon, and you can just put one on your wrist and have a red band on your wrist. And when somebody asks you what it is, you say, oh, this is my reminder to do whatever habit you're working on. You get the 12 pack that has all the colors of the rainbow. Put one on 1 week. Learn that habit. Make it part of your life. Pull that off. Put the next one on the other week. And then you'll have this reminder that's sitting on your wrist of, oh, I'm going to do this thing today. Just part of your morning habit or whatever could be putting on the color band of representing the thing that you're working on. So that's something. And then I kind of already said this before, but adjust your limits. If you're doing something that's not working for you, if 4 minutes of exercise doesn't work, do 30 seconds. If having an 8-hour intermittent fast eating window doesn't work for you, do 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours. Just pick something that is, again, it's all about anchor points and lifelong habits. So you're not trying to start something crazy. You're trying to start something that's realistic and lifelong. And then if you're getting good at this stuff, increase your limits. So drink more water. Drink a liter in the morning, drink a liter water at lunch, or drink a liter of water in the evening. Limit your eating hours further. If you're down to 14 hours, try to get down. I think the ideal is somewhere in the 8 to 10 hour range from what I understand. That's what your goal, but don't try to go for that at once if that's not you. Drink tea more times a day. Have tea in the morning. I have tea at night too. Sometimes I have tea during the middle of the day. And then once you have gotten some stuff worked out, pick another thing to work on. Just pick the next thing that you cycle through and increase the limits on each of those 10 things. So I did want to tell you also kind of my story. I've mentioned most of this already. I'm not actually going to tell you the story, but more just kind of what I'm doing on a daily basis. And there's actually one thing I forgot on the list here, but I'll just add it in verbally. So I'm waking up and drinking water. I'm exercising for about 2.5 minutes. After that, I have my sweet and spicy tea. This is all within the first 10, 15 minutes of the day. Then I have a big breakfast. I eat breakfast and lunch together most of the time. So I have a nice big breakfast, and then I graze a little bit on fruits and nuts. And I'm not hungry through once. Basically, I eat from about 9 to 11 or 12 with staged out with I have my morning breakfast. I try to do something that's a little bit higher in protein, like eggs. And then maybe I'll have a sandwich. and then I'll have some fruits and nuts, and I just kind of graze for a little bit on the fruits and nuts for a half an hour, whatever, just eating a little tiny bit at a time. And that's it. That's my eating period. I also, at some point in the day, I'll have maybe a little bit of dark chocolate just because I like it, and it's a little treat that I have for myself, and it's not really, that high of calories or anything. So I'll have just a little square or two, a little, like square like that of chocolate. I eat a smaller dinner nowadays. So I used to eat a really big dinner. Dinner was my big meal. I've moved to breakfast being my big meal, and dinner being smaller. And again, with all these things, you can't implement them all at once. Your body's got to adjust. Otherwise, you're going to have intense hunger and you just won't like it. But it's slow. It's over time. And it's working out for me. And I'll have a small dessert. I try not to have a dessert every night, unless it's just like a bite of something, like a 3 M&Ms or a bite of a piece of cake that we're trying to get rid of in the fridge. But I will have a small dessert, just very, very small. And then once a week, I'll have a nice dessert. Once a week, I don't worry anything about what I eat. I just pig out and enjoy it. But I don't let that creep. Because one of the things with cheat days that's really, and that's not even the right term because this is lifestyle change, not a diet. But one of the things about letting loose is if you say, oh, well, I'm going to a friend's house on Wednesday, so I'm going to let loose. And then, well, Saturday's the normal day I'm going to let loose. I'm not giving that up. I'm going to let loose. And then you start to let loose every day, and it's not going to work for you. So just be careful about that kind of thing. Anyway, during the day, some days I use an under-desk walking treadmill. And that's going well for me. I don't use it a whole ton, but I'll walk for a couple hours on it once or twice a week, and I'm enjoying that. And then I have some chamomile tea many nights before I go to sleep, and I try to get a decent sleep. I found that if I stay up too late, I get really hungry, and then I'm really tempted to go eat. So if I stay up, say past 12:30 or so, I start to get hungry again. My body's like, oh, if you're staying awake, we need some goodies. Otherwise, can't stay awake. So hunger pain. Anyway, that's what I'm personally doing. Like I said before, I've lost about 15 pounds recently. I contribute it to a lot of these changes that I'm personally making. So I have 100% confidence that if a guy like me, I'm 6'5", so the weight, you don't notice it as much, but I was up over 265 pounds, and that's not healthy. And you might be much more than that, and that's fine. But lifestyle changes are what are going to help you lose weight and keep it off. So it's not about what food do you subtract from your life. It's about what food and habits do you add to your life so that it just kind of naturally pushes some of the other stuff out of the way. So I know this was a long one. I hope that it was a good one. And I hope that this is really a great benefit in your life. I really, truly, honestly do. I spent a little bit more time preparing this because I thought this is something that really is important that I know a lot of people struggle with, that I was struggling with. I would have loved to have heard this from someone. And if you're feeling that way, please give a thumbs up. You can check the link in the description. You can also subscribe, either follow me on Facebook or subscribe on YouTube if you'd like. This Health Wealth Commitment channel is my morning shower thoughts. Not all of them are this good, but all of them are morning shower thoughts. Well, there was an evening shower thought as well. And thank you. Now I got to do my spiel. I'm learning to do the afterward spiel with the call to action. So, since you were such a great listener, this is my spiel. I got it written down. But I'm sincere about it. But I'm trying to do the call to action to help grow the channel and get people to share and stuff like that, because there's good stuff here. And so I want that to happen. But since you've been such a great listener and I've been doing all the talking, I want to thank you and now turn the time over to you to be the one who gives your thoughts. So what are your thoughts on this? What has worked for you? What are the things that you think you might like to change, or you might like some clarification on, or some encouragement? Please go ahead and leave a comment. And if you've got other of life's trials that you've overcome and you found unique ways, consider joining the Facebook group. Leave a comment. I want to hear about it. It might be something I want to implement in my life. Other people want to hear about it as well, I'm sure. So leave your thoughts and comments below, subscribe, and all that good business. And my other channel is Beyond Code Bootcamp. It is on, well, actually I have 2 other channels, but there's Livestream, which is just everything conglomerated together. And then there's Beyond Code Bootcamp, which is where I teach programming. So if you're thinking about increasing your income, you're thinking about making a change of lifestyle in terms of your career choices, check that out. Might be something you're interested in. and I will do the best I can to help you there, learn pragmatic fundamentals. Or if you already are a programmer, it might be a good idea, if you're kind of stuck in that juniorish role, it might be a good idea to go review some of those fundamentals so that you learn some stuff you might have missed in college or in boot camp or whatever. With that, you have the best morning ever. Adios. Oh, I don't know why so the keyboard here, you've seen me do this a couple times probably. The hotkeys used to work, but they stopped working. I have the escape key to stop the stream. Okay, and this is how long the stream, I'm going to do a scientific experiment here real quick. 5, 4, 3, 2,